Revolutionist. I am excited about a marvelous Monday. Hope your day has been a blessed one, an inspiring one, an encouraging one, an enlightening one, and an awakening one. Most of the times on Mondays, we feel like, we gotta go to work today because we've been spoiled after 2 days of being uh, out of slavery. And then we have to return back to slavery on Monday. But what I'd like to inspire you is, I was looking at TikTok, and so the man said instead of the first thing you pick up in the morning is your phone, unless you're just picking it up because you have the alarm on it or to check the time, is to breathe deeply 5 times. That's one thing. The next thing he said, take 10 minutes of gratefulness. And then the third thing he said, ask the question, who am I assigned to serve today? And so as you begin to do that, you begin to increase your energy, you change your mindset, and you begin to move forward on something greater than just saying, it's Monday. So remember, instead of looking at your emails, texts, or Facebook, or anything else, deep breaths. 1, 2, 3. Remember, in with your nose and out with your mouth. 4, 5. Inhaling gives you energy. Exhaling gives you relieves stress. That's if you've taken the thoughts from yesterday and brought them into the morning. And so what you have to do is you got to go ahead and release that, because there are enough things that you're going to have to deal with for that day. And so what you must do is start to eliminate before you start to add on. Next thing, 10 minutes of gratefulness. It will clear your immune system. God knows we need our immune system clear. Does it physically, mentally, spiritually? When you begin to say thank you and what you're grateful for, you're reminded that you have more haves than you have not. And so it puts you in another state of mind. The last thing, who am I purposed to serve today? So if you live a life not on purpose, but in purpose, then you want to be reminded and remember who you are to serve today. Remember, as you make things happen for others, God makes them happen for you with interest. And so it causes you to be in a whole different mindset, a whole different energy, a whole different thought pattern. We must, just like you get up automatically and go to the restroom when you get up in the morning, or go directly to the shower. This time, change it. If you begin to change it, then you expand to something different. If you continue to do the same thing over and over, even if you change the time you get up, if you normally get up at 6, get up at 5:55 or 6:01. Change. Then you prep yourself for change. See, we don't prep ourselves for change. We want to do everything the same way. And it creates a boredom. It creates a stress, believe it or not, that we continually to do things the same way. Then we bore ourselves, because we are creative beings. And creative beings create something to do new. I will do a new thing. Every day should be a new thing for you, not the same old thing. Remember, the old things have passed away. Now, that's just not in history, but that's today. Old things have passed away. The last minute has passed away. We're in something totally different. You may have just came off of a job or a situation that you were stressed out and ready to give up. No, then we begin to change it. And when you begin to change, you begin to evolve. And when you evolve into something greater and something better and something with multiple, massive energy, spiritual energy. And you become conscious that you're just not a human. You are God being, and you're just on a journey. This is not your home. It begins to remind you you're not here to learn. You're here to remember. You're not here to be dependent on God. You're here to be independent in God. And so all of those reminders begin to come and begin to make your day the best day ever. Yes. And so today we're going to talk about a desperate mind. Oh my goodness. Most of you don't recognize, realize, or conscious that you are operating in a desperate mind. What is a desperate mind? A desperate mind will do anything and react to anything without thinking it out or without responding, without researching. And so most of us, when we've heard the saying, desperate people do desperate things. And so sometimes you're going to sow into something that's going to make the situation worse than it is going to bring a resolution. And so we want to monitor that desperate mind. Listen, if you're walking in the Spirit, if you're a God being, if you know your Savior, your Creator, the Most High God, you have no need to be desperate. Desperate people cannot find a solution. Desperate people feel like that's the only solution. God will always give you a way of escape. So if you have a way of escape, then you can't operate in a desperate mind. Let's say one day things in your house are just in chaos. Maybe you and your spouse are just having not a good day, not an agreement, very intense fellowship. And you just feel like, look, I'm just going to get a divorce. I'm just going to leave. You're making a permanent situation. Hold on. You're making a temporary situation. Hold on one second. You're making a temporary situation permanent. You're reacting. You're not responding. You're desperate at that moment. Your emotions are at 3,000. In your mind, you've had a hard day, and now here comes an altercation or intense fellowship with somebody that you are with, or with your children. There are things going on in your day that went left that you thought should have gone right. Desperately, you will cuss somebody out, or desperately you would say, I want a divorce, I'm leaving, or desperately you'll just be mean to people. Though that's a desperate mind. You don't have to be like that. You choose to be like that. And anytime that you reach that point of a desperate mind, I just want out. I'm tired of life. That includes even with the suicidal mind. They work hand in hand, because a suicidal mind will tell you that this life is over and you need to end it. So it's a desperate measure. It is something that you're doing even when you're low in finances. The first thing you think about, well, where can I, a desperate mind. Now, not you, but a desperate mind thinks, okay, what can I steal? Or where can I rob? Or where can I take? And so that's a desperate mind. Most people that are doing a prison sentence did something on the spur of the moment with a desperate mind. You got some of the most intelligent people that are in prison and are doing life because they took a desperate measure in a time that their mind was desperate to find a solution. And they, not even a solution, was to find an answer. It wasn't the right solution. It was just an answer, a spur of the moment, active answer. And once that happens, desperate measures will occur after that. And so we must find a way. And we must recognize the signs now. You cannot, let me tell you, you cannot avoid or just don't pay attention to that desperate mind. And when I say pay attention to, I'm not saying to do what the desperate mind is saying do, but you must recognize that it is coming to that. And once you recognize that, the first thing you must do is breathe. I'm telling you, deep breathing adds energy, brings you to life, back to your soul, and causes you to say, hold up, wait a minute, let me just stop. Meditation. You don't have to meditate with your eyes closed. These eyes don't matter. You can meditate within your mind. You can go into that closet. That is that closet, that place in your mind. And you can just zone out that quick and go into another space. You have to go into your imagination and your visualization and begin to see it a different way. Not with these eyes, but with the inner eye, the first eye, the third eye, whatever you call it, just as long as you call it. And go in and cause yourself to see it a better way. Not a desperate way, but a better way. Most of the time, we think we have to have that solution in that moment. A lot of times, we don't have to have it in that moment. Sometimes we do, but 99.9% of the time, we do not have to have that desperate moment. And so here we go, finding ourselves in a place and in a space that's going to cause us to do something desperate. And then when we do something desperate, then we find ourselves in an even bigger mess. I don't know what's going on with my background music today, but I'm not going to be desperate. I am just going to find something different. And so when we recognize the desperate mind, then we have ways that we can evolve out of the desperate mind. Listen, these have been some times for the last, 18, 19 months where we've just felt that despair. We've just felt that. But be encouraged. Be encouraged to know that if God got you out of all these other things, this is just another opportunity for him to show himself strong. There's no need for you to get yourself into something deeper. Remember, God provides a way of escape for every temptation that will cause you to divert from a place and a space of peace. You can take all the pieces of your mind in here and take it to the peace of your mind so that you can design and define where your place of rest, where your place of resolution, where your place of being is. As you begin to do that, you will define and find yourself into a better place, not a desperate mind, but a place of rest, a place of peace. We're all in an uproar, like God does not know what's going down on earth, and he does not know how we're feeling, and he does not know we're in need of a resolution. But the Lord is place him in a state of being, a verb, an action word. The Lord is in this present moment. And yesterday, he came into today to secure all of the solutions that we would have to encounter. But if you don't have a mindset like that, then you'll get swayed by every wind that comes along, and you'll begin to have that desperate mind, and you'll begin to find places to be stressed out, to be have anxiety, to have depression, to be in a mode of low energy. All of those are low energy. We are energy. We are spiritual energy. And we talked about that this body is just a vehicle. Your soul has been here before. Your spirit knows everything. So if you begin to feed the soul and the spirit over the body, then the body can remain a vehicle. I always tell people, my car outside is a vehicle. It will not move until my soul and my spirit gets in it and begin to activate it. So your soul is in the middle. If you're feeding your flesh, your soul's going to follow that. If you're feeding your spirit, your soul's going to follow that. We must create a space for us to take this journey, not to dwell, but to travel in this space. So, those of you that are experiencing a desperate mind, there's something that has to be paid at a certain date, and you can't physically see how that's going to be done. You must begin to trust yourself to trust the Almighty, to trust the Word. He is not a man that he should lie. He's not a man, period. And so he's in the man, but he's not a man, period. And so we must not put our trust in no man. Put your trust in the Spirit of God and allow him to move. He's never failed you. He may not have answered you the way that you wanted to be answered, but he's never failed you. There's never been a time. His record is clear. There's never been a time he has failed you. I just offer you just to take a moment to look back over your life in some places that you were in and you thought you weren't going to get out, but God never failed you because you're still here and you're still in this space, in this place, in your purpose and your destiny to offer up the greatest version of yourself. This experience, if your soul has already been here, soul has been on an experience. It's just in a different vehicle now. So when you go to those places in your mind and situations where you say, I've done this before, I've seen this before, I've been here before. Yes, your soul has. You just haven't been there in that vehicle. And so this is an opportunity for you to focus, have a mindset, and know that you have a will to make a decision in this moment. That gives your authority back. That gives your power back. See, with a desperate mind, you feel powerless. And see, when you feel powerless, then you start doing desperate things. So you're never powerless. I don't care if you have low energy, you still have power. Even if it's small power, you still have power. So never think that you're out of power. Because at your lowest point, that's when God re-strengthens you. That's when you remember, when you start to remember, wait a minute. Now he brought me out of this and such and such and such and such. We overcome when we testify to ourselves by the word of the testimony. We overcome. I got to keep saying it. We overcome by the word of our own testimony to ourselves as to how God has always been a shield and a protector. And he's been a provider, and he's been a healer, and it's been a strong tower. I could just go on. He's been a strong tower. I felt something when I say that. Just when you think you've lost everything, just when you think you've gone left when you should have been right, he is a strong tower. He is a post that you can lean on when it feels like. Now, all the time, it's not like that. We just make it feel like you're on your leg. You're never on your last leg. Gotta create a leg before you be on your last leg. So let's define ourselves and bring ourselves to a moment of silence, meditation, breathing, being grateful, and just recentering what you were put here to do. Who were you put here to serve? It gets your mind back. It takes it out of here and brings you to the truth, takes the fear out, brings you down here to the truth, and to hear your next step. A lot of times you won't see your next step. Not with these. So you need to hear it. And then if you hear your next step, remember there's an ear in the middle of your heart. One ear, single ear. It's not a double. There's one eye, single eye. It's not double vision. Double-minded man is stable on the ways. It is a single vision. It is a single way of hearing. So you're not in the middle of saying, is this me? Is this God? Is this what we call the devil? Is this my mental disorder? Or is this my mental health? Is this me, my mental equation? All of those questions. When you begin to ask yourself questions, your brain is designed to give you an answer. So sometimes, even throughout the Bible, when it talks about the story of Jesus, he always asked his disciples questions, not because he didn't know the answer, because he wanted to activate. He wanted to activate their memory. We're not here to learn, we're here to remember. He wanted to activate it. And once he began to activate it, the answer came up. The peace came. Why are you all afraid? He said, I'm here on the boat. Why were you afraid? I'm with you. Why are you afraid? But they, again, are trying to bring the fear in. So we'll be very fearful of things. And once you're fearful, you don't have a sound mind, You can't feel love, and you don't feel like you have any power. Oh my God, that is a desperate situation. So tonight, I hope that this has been an awesome way for you to define and find yourself and get out of that desperate mind. You don't have to be desperate when the Savior is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all you can ask or think, but it's according to the power that's working in you. Yes. So this is Michelle. I'm your motivator. I'm your spiritual evolutionist on this magnificent, marvelous, marvelous Monday. As you begin to be mindful of that desperateness that you've been experiencing, that looks like anxiety, that looks like stress, that looks like depression. It's a desperate mind. So begin to share this. Somebody needs to hear this. Somebody feels like they're at the end of their rope. There's no end of the rope. God always gives us an extension because He is the extension. So stop saying these sayings that somebody else said that you never created and begin to walk in what you know to be the greatest version of yourself. And so as we begin to do that, we begin to experience life in its greatest form. We're not struggling. We're just being prepared. We're just being purposed. We're just being built up. It's not a struggle. It's not a struggle. It's preparation. And if you begin to look at some things on a positive level rather than a negative level, it will cause you to move into the greatest version of yourself. Well, this is Michelle. I'm your motivator. I'm your spiritual evolutionist. And as we always say, you've been created by the Creator to be creative. So start creating your creations. Stop all that duplicating. It's plagiarism. May the love, joy, peace, power, sound mindedness be your soul food for today as you offer up a spirit of praise to the Most High. Remember, meditate before you go to bed tonight so you can clear out all the mess from today and start over with your new mercies tomorrow. Be blessed.